timeline of the trade route in the age of exploration. In this video, we are going to teach you about the Silk Road, Indian Ocean trade, and the spice trade. First, let's see the Silk Road. Now we will talk about a few facts about the Silk Road. From the time of 113 BC, the Silk Road was announced to be open, and in 202 to 220 AD, Han Dynasty was the ruler of China.
Christianity started to spread to China around 600 AD. Italy started to manufacture silk in 1101 AD to 1200 AD.
In 1368 AD, Ming Dynasty began, and shortly the trade ended. Silk Road is not just a road, it is a network of trade routes. Merchant trade grew around the world. It changed the world more than what religion and public leaders did. Silk Road actually can be divided into two parts. The first part was attached from Eastern Mediterranean to Central Asia. The second part connects Central Asia to the place that Silk Road named from, China, where the silk was made. The Silk Road has involved sea routes, otherwise how can some goods find their way to places such as Java and Japan? Nearly no traders had traveled through the whole Silk Road. They traveled between places and trade to the trader who took the goods further. So the price had been marked along the way. Traders use camels and cattle as transportation, so they cannot bring the goods that are very heavy. The Chinese had kept the skill of making silk a secret since it was where Chinese wealth mainly come from. Silk Road is not only for trading goods, but moreover ideas and diseases.
Along the Third Silk Road, trade was under the Mongols' control. Silk was highly valued Chinese export, but was no longer the primary commodity. Europeans wanted other things such as spices, medicines, ceramics, and lacquerware. Since all kingdoms in Europe needed horses, weapons, and armaments, and silk production was already known in Arabia and has spread to southern Europe. Indian Ocean trade. The Indian Ocean trade started at 800 BC and ended on 1500 AD. During 500 BC, Greek and Roman merchants joined the Indian Ocean trade. During 323 BC, Ptolemies found out about the monsoons that happen from the Indian Ocean, and monsoons are the seasonal winds. Summer monsoon starts from the southwest, and winter monsoon starts from the northeast. Monsoon led the ships to travel easier when they travel from the monsoon season. Spices were traded from India. Persia and Egypt exchanged their goods such as grains. Starting from 100 AD to 700 AD, Christianity arrived to southern India and eastern Africa by the Roman merchants. Muslims was involved with trade to spread Islam to southern China. During the Ming Dynasty, Zheng He made voyage to Vietnam, coast of Africa, Calicut, and more different places. Zheng He made huge profits from the sea trade. Various people were motivated from his voyage. The merchants became rich, and it was a great chance for the middle class to get rich, and the higher class were associated with the merchants. Zheng He gave other countries goods from China to have good relationship between the countries. In 1498 AD, Vasco da Gama found the sea road to Calicut, and when he found about the spices, he attacked the civilization and got away with the spices.
Let's see the spice trade.
Just like its name, Spice trade is trading spices between the Orient and Europe. The demand for spices in medieval Europe expanded to a peak and drove these nations to geographically explore.
During this period, the cost of spice was the same as gold, making them a luxury. Cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger were very popular spices. Let's see spice history. The first usage was Egyptian, using spice for flavoring food, and in commodity in 13500 BC. Then Venice controlled the spice trade in Middle East until 1500 AD. From 12th to 16th century, Europeans started exploration for new passage to East India, which is the South Sea Islands. In 16th, Portugal ruled the spice trade from East India. In 17th century, it became the Netherlands, and in 18th, it was British.
In 1600 AD to 1900 AD, America entered the spice trade.
Why were spices important then? It was just for taste. Let's trace its footprint to the ancient time. In ancient times, spices were used in magical ceremonies such as incantation and purification.
The Roman civilization has used spices for makeup, perfumes, medical treatments, cooking and flavoring, and even for poisons.
In that time, there was no refrigeration. Leftover food would quickly spoil, so Europeans used spice to mask any bad smells.
Seeing the event notes the spice trade started because the demand of spice, and this is exactly why ancient Roman Empire expanded to the east. There were tons of places involved, such as Indonesia, Malaysia, China, Cairo, and it was the transfer station of medieval spice trade.
The biggest places for spice production were in South Asia, which is Nanhai Sea. Spice trade was one of the biggest commercial in 15th century, multiplied for centuries by Middle Eastern and North Africa middlemen. Arab middlemen were in power of the spice trade until European explorers.
In conclusion, the trade has given negative and positive impacts to people. Most of the people developed their lifestyle, but some suffered from the wars. Therefore, the Silk Road, the Indian Ocean trade, and the spice trade have developed the lifestyle and cultures of people.